Part 9. After rebirth, boss, she is beautiful and sassy. Author, beautiful. Chapter 81. Chapter 81 Mr. G's Apprenticeship. Is this a golden acupuncture that you gave yourself? You did a great job. Ji Sun Kai was jealous. As a master of traditional Chinese medicine, of course he can also administer acupuncture. No, this is not it. I asked my previous patient to do it. His disease also needs acupuncture. Yunsu said it lightly, but the three of them were startled. Has Yunsu had other patients before? According to her ability, she should have become famous a long time ago, but they have never heard of Yunsu's name. She saw the doubts of several people and said, "It's the second young master of the Ling family in Beijing." Yunsu took the initiative to speak out. Anyway, Linju was almost healed. All that was left was to insist on rehabilitation. Moreover, many people had already heard the news, and Linju was also preparing to return to the classical music circle. Linju. Jun Tamshi immediately realized who Yunsu was talking about, and his eyes were horrified. Are you saying that you healed the leg of Ling Yu, the youngest son of the Ling family in Beijing? Yes, Yunsu nodded. Recently, the news that Linju's leg has recovered has spread a lot. Many people are asking about which doctor is so good. However, the Ling family is tight-lipped and has not revealed any news. Even Jun Tamshi quietly asked, although Ling Yu's injury was a surgical injury and Jun Wei's was an internal medicine problem, what if there is a way? As long as there was a glimmer of hope, Hun Tangshi would not let it go. He never expected that the doctor he had been asking about for a long time was now standing in front of him. Hun Tangshi couldn't help but sigh and feel happy. Since Yunsu could cure Linju, Jun Tangzi instantly became more confident that she could cure Jun Wei. Then I'll give him an injection first, Yunsu said. Ji Sun Kai's eyes were hot and he was staring intently. This was like a golden needle passing through an acupuncture point. Things that others cannot learn even if they want to. Okay, what do you need to prepare? Yunsu will agree with everything Hun Tangshi says now. Just let him lie down on the bed and take off his clothes. One stitch falls, followed by the second and third stitches. She dropped them one by one in an orderly manner. Okay, Jun Tamshi nodded like garlic. Jun Wei stood up and walked around. He was delighted to find that his heavy and suffocated body had become much more relaxed. He who used to cough after just a few steps no longer coughed. It's true. Come on, let's chat for a while. Ji Sun Kai saw that she had been holding back questions for a long time. They walked into the room. Jun Wei took off his clothes and lay on the bed. His pale skin was exposed to the air. Due to his years of weakness, his body was extremely thin and his ribs were clearly visible. Jun Tamshi felt heartbroken when he saw it. He turned away. He was really ashamed of this child. He was born without a mother and was full of poison. He had to bear it and grow up over the years. Okay, Jun Tangzi wrote them down one by one. Jun Wei's abdomen was covered with long, thin golden needles, and he felt like a hedgehog now. Get up now and feel if it's not so difficult to breathe and the coughing has lessened. Yunsu was led to talk for another half an hour, and then he took the needle from Jun Wei. The golden needle passed through the acupuncture point, and it really lived up to its reputation. Ji Sun Kai sighed in amazement. Okay, Jun Wei's face felt a little hot inexplicably. Even though the other party was just a little girl, he was still a little embarrassed. Maybe it was because Yunsu acted too mature, just like his peers. Yunsu took out the golden needle from the needle bag, gently twisted it in his hand, found the right position, and inserted it quickly and firmly. Okay, keep it like this for half an hour before taking out the needle. Great, Hun Tangshi rubbed his hands excitedly. That's because I used golden needles to seal the toxins in his body, so he feels no different from ordinary people now, just a little weaker. He needs to be injected again every 5 days, supplemented by decoction. The one I gave him. Zhang Fangzi went to get medicine as soon as possible. That. Oddly enough, he didn't know how to speak. I wonder who you studied under. The wild doctor from the mountain village has passed away, Yunsu said casually. They had no way to verify it anyway. Sorry, Ji Sun Kai didn't expect that her master had passed away. Then do you want to be a master yourself? What? Yunsu didn't understand what he meant. That's right. Ji Sun Kai hesitated and said, would you mind accepting a student? Like me? Yunsu was stunned. Did he want to become her disciple? Are you kidding me? Jun Wei held his forehead. His teacher really said it. Jun Tamshi looked at the two of them. What is going on? You mean you want to become my teacher? Yunsu asked again uncertainly. Yes, there is a certain order of learning, and there are specializations in the arts. Those who are masters are teachers, regardless of age and status. Having said it all, Ji Sun Kai also gave up. Looking at his serious face, Yunsu realized that he was not joking. She thought for a moment and said, Mr. Ji, if you want to learn how to use golden needles to pass acupuncture points, I can teach you. We can also communicate with each other in medicine, but apprenticeship it's really not necessary. If she really dared to accept this master of Chinese medicine as her disciple, the world's spittle would drown her. How can we teach medical skills without being taught by a master? It's inappropriate. Ji Sun Kai shook his head. Traditional Chinese medicine attaches great importance to inheritance. Yunsu, if you are poor, you can be good for yourself. If you are great, you can help the world. My master once said that doctors should take it as their own responsibility to heal the world. They need countless people to pass on the fire, and they should not be cut off in their hands because of the so-called inheritance of secret skills. Ji Sun Kai was speechless after hearing this. His eyes were moved. After a while, he clasped his hands together and said, Mr. De Yi, I am too narrow-minded. So there is no need to mention the matter of apprenticeship, Yunsu said with a smile. Jun Wei and Jun Tamshi were also moved by this great love. If all doctors were like this, they might not have suffered from illness for so long. Girl Yun, you have helped us so much, and our Jun family has nothing to repay you. We only have these common things. You must accept them and don't refuse. Jun Tamshi stuffed a card to her without refusing. Thank you, Uncle Jun, I won't refuse. Yunsu saw that Jun Tamshi was so aggressive that she would not leave unless she accepted her, so she accepted him without refusing. The new year has almost passed. Both the Research Institute and Yunchinj have begun to take vacations. Yunsu has also rested for such a long time, so it's time to get down to business. Yunsu went to the Research Institute first, passed through many checkpoints, and entered the laboratory. Yun Gong, are you here? Yes, Happy New Year. Happy New Year. People in the project greeted her along the way, and Yunsu responded with a smile. She felt that everyone's energy had been raised after the new year. Yunsu called everyone to the conference room for a meeting. In the new year, I hope everyone can cheer up. We have reached a critical step. We are currently making progress on new drones. I hope everyone will pay attention to this. Yunsu was talking eloquently, and everyone present was listening attentively. Everyone had great expectations for the launch of the new drone. Yunchinj was also very motivated. Yunsu went to the office and asked the secretary, "What's the recruitment plan for next year?" The secretary quickly handed the information to her. "Sister Yun, all the candidates' information is here. Please take a look." Yunsu thought of Yun Hofan. "Okay, let me take a look." End of this chapter. After Rebirth, Boss, she is beautiful and sassy. Author, beautiful. Chapter 82. Chapter 82. The interview begins. Yunsu looked through the resumes and stopped on a certain one. On the photo, the boy had a bright and sunny smile. He majored in computer science at Huaguo University of Science and Technology. Yun Hofan, is he really here? Yoon-soo knows that Yunchinj has just developed. Even if there is news that it is cooperating with Junya Group, it must be a lot of determination for a graduate of a key university to give up a well-known large company and switch to them. When will the job fair be held? Yoon-soo asked the secretary. The secretary quickly checked the schedule and said, this Thursday. Okay, I'll add more seats when the time comes, and I'll go check it out too. Okay, Sister Yoon. The secretary was stunned for a moment and quickly wrote it down. Generally, Solin is worried about things like recruitment. Yoon-soo just took a last look at it. This time, he was rarely interested in going to the interview. There were not many candidates for Yunchinj's job fair this time. After many rounds of screening, there were only 5 candidates left. They were either very experienced in the industry or, like Yoon Ho-fan, they were fresh graduates from key universities. Yoon-soo didn't tell anyone else about her acquaintance with Yoon Ho-fan. He still had to speak on his own merit, and she wouldn't interfere. Thursday soon arrived, and Yunchinj's job fair came as scheduled. Yoon Ho-fan hung up the phone and arranged his clothes for the last time to make sure there was nothing wrong. He was a little nervous. After taking a deep breath, he went out. Senior brother, we are almost ready, the rest can only be seen on the spot, Yoon Ho-fan said honestly. Sister Yoon, the job fair is about to begin. Okay, anyway, you have to show everything you should. Your competitors are not weak, and I heard that our boss will also be at the scene today. You seize the opportunity, Jose Ayu took the trouble to remind him. He heard that Yoon-soo after hearing the news that he was going to the job fair, he quickly called Yoon Ho-fan. Yoon-soo was still busy, and his secretary came over and reminded him softly. Your boss. Is it Solin, Mr. Soo? Yoon Ho-fan knew that his senior brother went to Yunchinj with Mr. Soo of Junya Group. He admired Solin very much and became excited when he heard this. Okay. The person Yoon Ho-fan calls his senior is Jose Ayu. He is one of the first employees to follow Solin into Yunchinj. He is very optimistic about Yoon Ho-fan's ability and strongly recommends him to come to Yunchinj for development. He had just gotten ready in the hotel, pulled on his tie, and straightened his collar, when he received a call from his senior brother. No, you'll know when you get to the scene anyway, Jose Ayu said vaguely. Yoon Ho-fan has not entered Yunchinj now, so he can't reveal too much. Okay, I'll wait for your good news. Okay, I'll be there later. Ho-fan, although I can't tell you the content of the project we are currently working on, believe me, it will never disappoint you, and will even subvert your cognition, Jose Ayu said in a serious tone. The holographic game project was absolutely confidential, so he could only hint at Yoon Ho-fan as much as possible and let him make bold guesses. Ho-fan, how are you preparing? Okay, senior brother, I will work hard. Yoon Ho-fan has been in Lanchinj for 2 days and has stayed in a hotel. If today's interview goes well and both parties are satisfied, he will stay in Lanchinj directly. The only people he knew in Lanchinj were the Yoon-soo family, but he was too embarrassed to come and disturb them. He would only visit them after he settled down in Lanchinj. Yoon-soo finished his work, gave a few more instructions to others, left the project department, and walked to the conference room. Sister Yoon, you're here, sit down quickly. Before the candidates arrived, Solin and 2 other colleagues in charge of interviews were already sitting in the conference room. When they saw Yoon-soo coming in, they immediately stood up to greet her. I'll sit next to you. You guys who are interviewing you, don't worry about me. Yoon-soo sat down casually in the corner of the conference room. As the interview time approached, several candidates came outside the conference room one after another. Brother, may I ask where you were employed before? A relatively rugged-looking man with a beard was doing nothing and chatted with the man next to him who was wearing a suit and ties and looked like an elite at first glance. The man in the suit glanced at him and replied slowly, Mqahua Street. Hey, that's incredible, then why are you thinking about returning to China for development? The bearded man's eyes widened. People who came back from places like Hawaii Street also come to this company for interviews. He is a computer engineer and worked diligently in his previous company for 5 or 6 years. However, when he was promoted, he was robbed of his position by a relative who had been demoted. He resigned in anger and started working in Shanghai online. I submitted my resume and was specifically looking for an emerging company that was just developing. Unexpectedly, I was lucky enough to pass the screening and get to the on-site interview. The pace abroad is too fast, but it's more comfortable to go back to China. The man in the suit glanced at the conference room. If it weren't for the powerful backer behind the company, how could he invest in such an unknown small company? Then you will definitely succeed in the interview, the bearded man said firmly. I'd like to lend you auspicious words. There was also a lady wearing a shirt and short skirt sitting next to her. She had a round face and almond-shaped eyes. She was quite beautiful, but she was a little nervous to the naked eye and kept mumbling something. The bearded man couldn't take any time off and talk to her. You have just graduated, right? Don't be nervous, just perform normally. The girl looked at him gratefully and said, thank you. This is my first interview. I'm afraid I'll screw it up. It's okay, relax, the bearded man comforted her. At this time, Yoon Ho-fan arrived. He was slightly out of breath. There was a traffic jam on the road, so he got out of the car and walked over quickly. Here, wipe your sweat. The girl took out a tissue from her bag and handed it to him. Thank you, it was really not good to go in for an interview like this. Yoon Ho-fan took it gratefully and put the resume in his hand on the chair. The bearded man glanced at it casually and asked in surprise, are you a student of the University of Science and Technology? He sighed inwardly that such a small company's interview was surprisingly difficult, even though the company seemed quite large in scale and the staff looked quite good. Professional, but not enough to attract these people, right? The man in the suit also looked over when he heard this. A student from the University of Science and Technology? Interesting. The girl, who was already nervous, suddenly became even more nervous. Does she still have a chance among these people? The last candidate arrived belatedly at this time, with only 2 or 3 minutes left before the interview started. Everyone adjusted their mood and entered the conference room under the leadership of the secretary. You're not, the bearded man saw Sulin at first sight as soon as he entered the conference room. His pupils tightened. Isn't this Sulin from Junya Group? Why are you here? I didn't hear that he resigned. Sulin of Junya Group is a well-known figure in the domestic business and scientific research circles, especially those who are engaged in technology. Who doesn't know him? Yunsu was sitting in the corner, wearing a mask, and no one paid attention to her. The bearded man looked at the unsurprised man in suit and Yoon Ho-fan next to him, and suddenly realized. No wonder he said that people who graduated from Hawaii Street and the University of Science and Technology came to such a small company for interviews. It turned out that they were here for Sulin. It turned out to be him who understood the situation. Everyone, please take a seat, our interview will begin soon. Several people sat down one after another. I am today's chief interviewer, Sulin. Sulin? Sure enough, it was him. The bearded man took a deep breath. Isn't this company making games? Why is Sulin here? As a result, Sulin's next sentence cleared up his doubts. Yunchin's current project is developed in cooperation with our Junya Group, so I am sitting here to meet you. I hope I have a pleasant exchange with you today. As soon as Sulin finished speaking, the whole room was shocked. What? This company actually cooperates with Junya Group. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After Rebirth, boss, she is beautiful and sassy. Author, beautiful. Chapter 83. Chapter 83, The Market Gives Way. The people present had different thoughts and could not help but breathe heavily. When the bearded man suddenly realized this, he also realized that this was actually an excellent job opportunity. He put away his casual attitude and became serious. The man in the suit raised a smile at the corner of his mouth. Just these few people still want to compete with him. Dreaming. The girl's first reaction when she heard the news was even more nervous. She didn't have much confidence in the first place. Seeing this, Yoon Ho-fan patted her shoulder carefully. When the girl looked over, she made a cheering gesture. The girl said gratefully, "Look at him and try to calm down." Sulin glanced at a few people and said, "If there are no questions, please introduce yourself, including your past work experience, your strengths, and a development plan for the future. Let's start with Cheng Jiawei." Cheng Jiawei was the last boy who hurried over. He wore a pair of large black-rimmed glasses and looked mature and solemn. He slowed down and seemed to be organizing his words. "My name is Cheng Jiawei. I am 28 years old. This year I graduated from the Fine Arts major of Haishi Theatre Academy. I have had 3 jobs so far, and I have done work related to my major among them." His sentences are fluent and well organized. Although he is not outstanding, he is still remarkable. After looking at some of his design works, he is also very smart. What interests Yoon-soo is his recent work experience. He has been flying Soo worked. Figsu can be said to be one of the best game companies in the country. People go to higher places. Although Yoon-soo is not belittling himself, he doesn't jump like this when changing jobs, right? Changing jobs from an industry-leading company to an unknown small company. Sulin also realized this, and he asked, "Can I ask why you left your last job?" Cheng Jiawei hesitated for a moment, then said, "It was about the creative concept. I had some disputes with the leader, and finally resigned. I am Wu Weiming, in my 30s, with a master's degree in finance from the University of California, Country A. After working in Huey Street for 5 years, I still feel that this land is more suitable for me, so I decided to return to China. The content of my previous work was probably..." Wu Weiming, the man in the suit, stood up and talked confidently, the arrogance in his eyes clearly visible. Sulin and the other 2 interviewers looked at each other. Indeed, Wu Weiming has excellent abilities in all aspects and should be considered. The next person is Yoon Ho-fan. Although he is a fresh graduate, he has had experience in corporate internships before. He is relatively calm. After thinking for a few seconds, he calmly speaks, "I am Yoon Ho-fan. I graduated from Huaguo University of Science and Technology. I am a fresh graduate in computer science." "Okay, thank you, next one, please." Cheng Jiawei felt a little nervous, knowing that he might have screwed up again. Leaders usually taboo employees who are stubborn, but this was one of the few opportunities he had. Sulin is a good person. How could you not see that he had reservations? He did not insist on asking the question and let the next person continue to introduce himself. Sulin nodded. He had a good impression of Yoon Ho-fan. He was capable and had the energy and passion of young people. This was what they valued most at the moment. Yoon-soo was sitting in the corner, with a smile on his face under the mask. Since he didn't have much work experience to speak of, he talked about some internship and competition experiences at school. After feeling that he had finished talking, he nodded to several interviewers and sat down. He is very confident in all aspects of his conditions. As long as his mind is clear, he will know that he will be chosen. After a long speech, he sat down and his smile was still in place. The next person to speak was the bearded man Chen Enming. He has relatively rich work experience and a deep understanding of the industry. He also answered fluently some questions asked by Sulin. The last one to speak was a girl who had always been nervous. Her heart became heavier and heavier when she heard that the previous few people either had insights into the industry or were elites who graduated from prestigious schools or returned from overseas. But at this time, she calmed down. My name is Zhou Chan. I graduated from Beijing Communication University. Before, a long paragraph of self-introduction. She finished speaking fairly fluently without stumbling, and sat down with a sigh of relief. So the people's situation is almost understood. The next thing to look at is their compatibility with the company. Sulin asked some more questions and took notes based on everyone's answers. He exchanged a few words in a low voice with the two people next to him, then looked at Yunsu, who had been silent in the corner, and asked, Sister Yun, do you have anything to ask? Everyone thought that the interview questions were over, and they just breathed a sigh of relief. When they heard Sulin's words, their hearts started to lift again. With a mask on and her face can't be seen clearly, but she seems to be young. Why did Sulin call her sister? And her attitude is so respectful. Who is this girl? Yun Hofan frowned. Why did this girl give him a very familiar feeling, but he couldn't remember who it was. But also, how could he know the people here? It might be an illusion. Yunsu looked at the people. His smooth and rounded fingers tapped on the table rhythmically, making a tap-tat sound, as if they were tapping on the hearts of several people. I would like to ask, what is the maximum extent of your imagination for the game? For example, the graphics, technology, playability, etc., can be said, or what do you hope it will be? When several people heard Yunsu's question, their first reaction was, this voice sounds too young. I used to work at Figzu, and I may have a little more say in games than you. Let me just tell you my humble opinion. For games, I think the first thing is to find out the taste of the market and find a precise fit. And the graphics, the sophistication of production and the playability of the game are what attract players the most, and Cheng Jiawei spoke first, knowing that he would really lose this opportunity if he didn't perform. Yunsu nodded, said nothing, and looked at the others. When I was in Country A, I had contact with big guys in the game industry. I have no comment on what this person said just now, but I want to express one point. Whether it is a game or any other industry, the product itself is often not the most important thing. What era is it now? It is the information age, so marketing is very important. Wu Weiming doesn't agree with Cheng Jiawei at all. As in the street, capital comes first. Sulin frowned. What he meant was that the product was not important, but the packaging was the most important. He glanced at Yunsu, who still had no intention of speaking. Just as he was about to speak, Yun Hofan stood up and refuted Wu Weiming's point of view. I don't think so. I think that no matter in any era, the product itself comes first, and the others are just its appendages, used as icing on the cake. How can we establish a reputation without good products and packaging? Then I can only said, it may only be a moment of glory, not a lifetime. With these words, the young man's energy was so strong that Zhou Chan forgot that she was still in the interview and clapped her hands. Well said. Although I don't know much about the gaming industry, I also understand that if the product is not up to standard, customers will not buy it at all. Just like me, if I identify a brand, I will always support it and will not be fooled by other hype. Attract, Zhou Chan said. Wu Weiming was refuted by two people one after another, and his face was a bit ugly. He couldn't hold back his anger and said, excuse me, in the current game market, Figzu and Kink, as the industry leaders, account for almost 90% of the market share. What should we take to stand out and seize the market? Everyone was speechless for a moment, not knowing how to reply. Wu Weiming was about to pursue the victory when Yunsu spoke. She laughed softly, her smile was gentle, but her words were filled with extreme madness. Yunchinj doesn't need to seize the market, Yunchinj will make the market make way for him. End of this chapter. After Rebirth, boss, she is beautiful and sassy. Author, beautiful. Chapter 84. Chapter 84 Boss Yunchinj. This sentence was so arrogant that everyone present was stunned for a moment and remained speechless for a long time. The same question arose in their hearts: who is this girl? Who are you? Can you represent Yunchinj? Wu Weiming looked at her with contempt in his eyes. Where did the yellow-haired girl come from, and spoke arrogantly. Yun Su said, me? It doesn't matter who I am. What matters to me is that if you want to become a member of Yunchinj, you must have this absolute confidence. If you can't represent Yunchinj, I still hope to talk to Mr. Su. Wu Weiming was sure that she was not an important person and didn't want to waste words with her. Yun Su saw through his thoughts at a glance, and opened his lips slightly. I'm sorry, Mr. Wu, our Yunchinj may not be very suitable for your work needs. Please come back. Wu Weiming looked at her in disbelief. Why do you let me leave? Is it your turn to make the decision in this place? She can indeed represent Yunchinj. Mr. Wu, please come back. Sulin's face darkened and he was joking. Can't Yunchinj's boss represent Yunchinj? Okay, let me go, I'm not surprised. Wu Weiming looked at a few people with the arrogant expression. I thought that with you and the group at the bottom, your company has quite a development prospect, so I came to take a look, otherwise I would. It seems like a joke that a small company like you wants to hire me. It's so ridiculous that a company like this is the boss of the movie. Yoon Soo-yeon smiled and said without anger, you don't need to worry about this. Security. Come here. Sulin couldn't see anyone saying that to Yoon Soo, so he called the security with a cold face. Okay, Sulin nodded, then couldn't hold it back and complained, who is the little girl, don't you know? The atmosphere at the scene suddenly became a little awkward, and the other people didn't know what to say. Jo Chan's shoulders slumped, and she knew she couldn't do it. The names of Cheng Jiawei and Yoon Ho-fan are written on it. One of them is an old man in the industry, and the other is a fresh blood just out of school. Yoon-soo has no objection to this result. Please come in. In addition, Jo Chan Sulin continued, our marketing department has an internship quota, if you are willing. After thinking about it, Yoon-soo added Jo Chan's name, asked this little girl if she would like to intern in the marketing department first. Sulin was amused by her appearance. Okay, I'd like to trouble you all to make this trip today. I hope I can work with you all in the future. Goodbye. Okay, there was a little incident, let's continue chatting, Yoon-soo said as if he didn't notice the awkward atmosphere. The remaining 4 people entered the conference room again, waiting for the results to be announced. I'll go by myself. Wu Weiming flicked the corner of his clothes and walked away with a high air. I do. Jo Chan's eyes instantly lit up like 2 small flames, and she couldn't wait to answer. The atmosphere finally calmed down again. Sulin talked with them in detail, and then asked a few people to go out and wait for a while. They needed to discuss the results of the interview. Sister Yoon, this is the list we discussed. Please take a look. Sulin handed Yoon Soo a piece of paper. Cheng Jiawei's eyes sparkled with joy. Really? Thank you so much, I will reply as soon as possible. She felt that this little girl had potential and she was willing to give her a chance. Yoon Ho-fan also breathed a sigh of relief and finally passed. Although the bearded man Chen Enming was a little disappointed, he still accepted it well. Yoon Soo glared at him, and the other 2 interviewers laughed shamelessly. After our comprehensive evaluation and joint discussion, we finally decided that Cheng Jiawei and Yoon Ho-fan passed our interview with Yunchinj. We hope that they will consider it carefully and respond to us as soon as possible. Sulin, yes, let me ask you about the salary expectations and other welfare needs of this job, and can. Yoon Ho-fan left Yunchinj with excitement, and not long after he received a call from Jose Iu. You can do it, kid, I knew you could do it, Jose Iu exclaimed in excitement. Senior brother, you are well informed. I just finished here, Yoon Ho-fan joked. That's for sure. I just asked our president so Jose. I was very concerned about his junior, and as soon as the job fair was over, he went to ask about the recruitment results. Yoon Ho Fan suddenly thought of something. By the way, there was a very young girl during our interview. I heard Mr. So call her Sister Yoon. Who is she? Sister Yoon is our boss. Didn't I tell you that she would go back to the scene? Yoon Ho Fan couldn't believe it. She is your boss? That is, Yoon Cheng's boss. I think she is in her 20s at most. Where did she come from in her 20s? Yoon Ho Fan said that she was too old. As Yoon Su's crazy fan, Jose I was unhappy. Our sister Yoon is not yet an adult. Not an adult yet? Yoon Ho Fan almost spit out a mouthful of old blood. He couldn't help but wonder, is this company really reliable? Why does he feel something is wrong? Don't look at our sister Yoon because she is young, but she is quite awesome. Now that Yoon Ho Fan has passed the interview and is about to become a part of Yunchinj, Jose Ayu doesn't shy away from it. The project our Yunchinj is currently working on is led by Sister Yoon. Whether it's studying or not, she participated in a math competition before and won a gold medal. How long does her brain have? And Yoon Ho Fan could no longer hear what Jose Ayu was saying behind him. All he could think about was the words about the gold medal in the mathematics competition that kept looping. If he remembered correctly, someone had mentioned this competition in his ears not long ago. Sister Yoon, whose surname is Yoon. No. Wait a minute, what's Sister Yoon's full name? Yoon Ho Fan interrupted him directly, holding his breath and waiting for Jose Ayu's answer. Sister Yoon's full name is Yoon Soo. Why do you ask this? Jose Ayu was confused and didn't know why he asked this. Yoon Soo, Yoon Ho Fan couldn't control his expression and his face twisted. You said her name is Yoon Soo? Yes, what's wrong? You ask me what's wrong? What did you say? Yoon Ho Fan held the phone and couldn't say a word. How could it really be her? With the blue sky and white sun, Yoon Ho Fan raised his head and looked at the sun in the sky. Is this world a fantasy? Even though Yoon Ho Fan didn't believe it, when he saw Yoon Soo appearing during the regular morning meeting on the day he went to Yunchinj to report, his eyes almost popped out of his head. Good morning everyone, we have 3 new colleagues joining us today. Everyone welcomes them with a round of applause. After a burst of warm applause, Sulin introduced Yoon Soo to the 3 of them. This is our boss in Yunchinj, Yoon Soo. Everyone calls her Sister Yoon. Isn't this the girl wearing a mask that day? Why did she look younger than they expected? Cheng Jiawei and Zhou Chan were a little confused. She turned out to be Yunchinj's boss. No wonder Mr. Su said that day that she could represent Yunchinj. Yoon Soo blinked at Yoon Ho Fan, and Yoon Ho Fan nodded mechanically. He remembered what Yoon Soo's intriguing look meant that day at Uncle Yun's house. It turned out that she had already known that the company he was going to was. Yunchinj knew that they would definitely meet again. Okay, let's talk about the progress of the project next. The marketing department is in the lead. The meeting got down to business. Our marketing department has conducted a lot of market research, collected a lot of questionnaires, and roughly divided the current young people's expectations and imaginations for interstellar games. Take a look at the screen. The person in charge of the marketing department people began to explain. Interstellar game? Is this the project you are working on now? The 3 newcomers cheered up. Yoon Ho Fan calmed down. Even though he had all kinds of doubts in his heart, it was not the time to chat. He was very interested in the project that Jose Ayu mentioned several times. After the head of the marketing department finished speaking, it was the game design department's turn. We have now completed 80% of the game design. Whether it is the graphics, scenes, character settings, or gameplay, it has been roughly perfected. The next step is the technical issues. Yoon Soo nodded. After these are finalized, we can start the next step to solve the problems of holographic technology. Everyone was refreshed, and the key point finally came. Pa, the pen in Yoon Ho Fan's hand fell to the ground. making a crisp sound. What are they talking about? Holographic technology. End of this chapter. After Rebirth, boss, she is beautiful and sassy. Author, beautiful. Chapter 85. Chapter 85 is on the hot search again. Cheng Jiawei took a breath. What were they talking about? Holographic technology? His hands were shaking uncontrollably. It couldn't be what he was thinking, could it? Even a layman like Zhou Chan knows the meaning of the word holographic. It has appeared in many movies, TV series, and novels, but now it is a reality. Looking at the expressions of several people, Yun-Su explained, the new colleagues don't understand the project we are working on yet. Lan Chi, please tell me. Okay, Sister Yun. Lan Chi stood up and said, we, Yunchinj, are currently cooperating with Junyu to develop the world's first holographic game with an interstellar theme. We are currently halfway through the process. Cheng Jiawei has worked at Figzu for many years. He is particularly sensitive to the word holographic game. He understands its meaning better than many people present. They are actually doing something that Figzu has not dared to think about for so many years. It is because they are too falling behind. Yun Hofan fell into a confused silence, and Lan Chi's understatement made it seem like they had never seen the world. They have only now realized what kind of company they have joined. As long as this game can be produced and released, they can't imagine how big a storm will happen. No wonder Yun-Su dared to say those words back then. It doesn't matter if the market makes way for it. The words holographic game will make everyone crazy. After the meeting, several people have been open to the new world, their hearts are surging, and they want to have a big fight right away. After everyone left, Yun-Su patted Yun Hofan on the shoulder and said, do a good job. My dad knows that you have come to Lanchinj and asked you to come to our house for dinner on the weekend. It's pretty good, and the company is pretty good too. Although he was confused, Yun Hofan didn't say much. What did you say? You want to skip a grade? Yan Yu didn't expect that Yun-Su would come to give her a surprise just after school started. You don't have to look for it, the company has dormitories. Yunchinj's benefits are pretty good. That's good. Yun Daejin was also happy for him. Have you found a place to live? Okay, okay. Yun Daejin clinked his glasses and downed the drink in one gulp. Not bad, not bad, then you have to do a good job. Hofan, you should stay here in Lanchinj from now on, right? Is the job you are looking for okay? Yun Daejin asked. Yun-Su, yes, Teacher Yan, I made this decision after careful consideration and discussed it with my family. After this semester, I want to apply to be a senior in high school, and then I can take the college entrance examination 1 year in advance. After the division of subjects, Class 14 was a science class, and Yun-Su was still in Class 14, and was still taught by Teacher Yan Yu. As soon as the school started, Yun-Su went to find Yan Yu. At the beginning of the new year, after all the big and small things were sorted out, it was time to start school again. On Saturday, Yun Hofan came to visit the Yun-Su family with gifts. Yun Daejin was very happy and happily cooked a large table of dishes to entertain him. Yun Hofan suddenly didn't know how to speak. What was he asking? Ask her why she is Yunchinj's boss? Ask her why Uncle Daejin didn't know anything about it? Too many doubts accumulated in his heart. Okay, I will definitely be there. I am also preparing to visit Uncle Daejin. Yun Hofan agreed. He happened to be full of questions and wanted to ask Yun-Su. Yun-Su watched the lively variety show on TV and said, actually, Yunchinj's founding was a coincidence. I don't want my dad to know that I am doing this, lest he worry. Brother Hofan, will you do it for me? I kept it a secret, right? After dinner, Yun Daejin asked Yun-Su to chat with Yun Hofan while he went to clear away the dishes. Yan Yu suddenly realized, so, is this the reason why you refused to be escorted? Yun Hofan glanced at Yun-Su, what, Don't Uncle Daejin know? Yoon-soo quietly gave him a shushing gesture. She has said this, what else can he say? After all, she is the boss now, okay. Uncle Daejin, I respect you. Yoon-ho fan picked up the cup. Absolutely, Yoon-soo nodded. Okay, now that you have decided, I will submit your application and tell you the result. You can go down first. Okay, thank you teacher. After Yoon-soo left, Yan Yu thought for a while and went to Director Lee's office. Sister Yoon. Lian Yu waved wildly. He and Qin Cheng both chose science, and they were in the same class as Yoon-soo. What's wrong? Lian Yu looked at her with a strange expression. Sister Yoon, don't you use the internet? Look, Lian Yu took out his mobile phone and opened the hot search list on Weibo. Here, the race course is frightening, the girl in red is stunning and saves people. This entry? Yoon-soo clicked on it and saw that it was a video posted by a marketing account. On the screen, two horses were galloping on the race course. There was a distance between them. After a while, one of the horses was getting faster and faster, and gradually caught up. The horse in front, the girl in red on the horse, seemed to realize something, suddenly leaned to the side, turned her body at an incredible angle, and got on the horse that seemed to be out of control, and soon it was like magic. Stop the horse. The video picture is not very clear, and the person's face cannot be clearly seen. The person taking the video must be a bit far away, and the picture is shaking violently due to being frightened, and there are many screams mixed in. Lian Yu could tell at a glance when he was surfing the internet that this was Yoon-soo that someone else took at the race course that day, so he immediately told Yoon-soo. This entry has been rising all the way, becoming more and more popular, and many netizens screamed like marmots below. Wait until the white dew turns to frost. Although I can't see her face clearly, the young lady is so handsome to me, I'll call her husband first. Why would a horse suddenly go crazy? Which horse farm is this? It must be exposed. Luna wants to grow taller. Isn't this really a behind the scenes of a movie or TV series? I don't believe anyone could react so quickly in this situation. Go to bed early. Upstairs, do you hear the screaming? Does it sound like filming a drama? Anyway, it looks real to me. If the acting is really good, it would be a lot of trouble to beat those little fresh meat and flowers. I don't know the island residents, maybe this is all done by special effects? It's too fake. They specify which entertainment company wants to promote new talents. This kind of routine has been seen too many times. Listen to the autumn rain and autumn wind. I don't care. I want all the information about this young lady. It's so handsome that I can't close my legs. Yoon-soo took out his mobile phone, which he used as a mobile phone for senior citizens, and logged into Weibo. After a while of lag, it became smooth again. His only Weibo post actually had tens of thousands of comments and hundreds of thousands of Weibo fans. After 2 glances, she withdrew and said nonchalantly, "It's okay, you can't see my face clearly." Yoon-soo didn't bother to delete it. Yoon-soo didn't expect how idle the netizens would be, nor did they know how powerful Yang-go was. They just played the unclear video frame by frame and found out the relatively clear pictures in it. After repairing it, adjusting the frame rate and pixels, and finally comparing it one by one with similar portraits on the internet, they actually found it. Shanmin Chiu-lu, why does this photo look familiar to me? Is it my imagination? The fishing boat can't finish singing, me too. Bang the lemon tea, no, I must have seen it somewhere, wait for me to look for it. 5 minutes later, Bang the lemon tea screamed and commented on a screenshot. Bang the lemon tea, ah. Look. What she posted was the screenshot of the Weibo post that Yoon-soo posted on the official blog of the mathematics competition when he won the gold medal. Then, the comments all exploded. Ixie baby, no, right? Is it this young lady? I really liked her face. The nonsense has become refined, it really seems like it. Isn't she a gold medalist in some competition? No way, no way. Is there really someone who is good looking and good at both civil and military skills? Little carp blows bubbles. In my 25th year in the world, is this the difference in the world? Yes, not only did the evolution of my brain not take me along, I also had no part in the evolution of my body. Su Mau Mau and Su Dao Tao, kind-hearted little sisters on Weibo, at Asusu 2121. Finding pigs from the bottom of the sea, the good people upstairs will have a safe life. Countless people flooded into Yunsu's Weibo. Yunsu didn't know anything about the storm on the internet. Lian Yu had been paying attention to the trends on the internet. When he saw that everyone had picked up the news about Yunsu, he was about to tell her that Qin was Chen Yan quickly grabbed it with his hands. The spring day was warm and the sun was shining brightly. Yunsu was lying on the table and sleeping soundly. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After Rebirth, Boss, she is beautiful and sassy. Author, beautiful. Chapter 86. Chapter 86 Princess Jining. In the Qin family in the capital, Qin Ju knocked on the door of Qin Jiao's study. Fifth Master, look at this. Qin Jiao was processing documents and casually glanced at the mobile phone handed over by Qin Ju. A bright red pierced his eyes, and his eyes froze instantly. The video playing on the mobile phone was the video on the hot search. The popularity was still rising. Qin Jiao recognized the heroic the horse at a glance. Who was it if it wasn't Yunsu? As Qin Jiao's right-hand man, Qin Ju not only handles matters around him, but also pays attention to the trends on the internet so that he can report to Qin Jiao at any time when something big happens. Moreover, Qin Jiao had previously told him to pay attention to Yunsu's the news, therefore, he immediately came to report to Qin Jiao. Qin Jiao's eyes were heavy. When he saw her climbing onto another horse, he immediately clenched the pen in his hand. It wasn't until she landed safely that his heart returned to his chest. Why is she so brave? You dare to risk your life? When did this happen? Who did she go to the race course with? Qin Jiao gritted his teeth and sounded dangerous. Qin Ju had already investigated. He paused and said, they went with Mr. Yu and Mr. Chang, and a niece from the second room of the Lian family. You dare to take Miss Yun to the race course, and such a dangerous thing happens. You two young masters, please wish yourself well. Who is it? Asked a steady and powerful voice. Also, take down all the news about Yunsu from the internet, and don't let irrelevant people disturb her. The moment he heard Yunsu's voice, Qin Jiao's heart really calmed down. He didn't ask what happened at the race course, but simply asked, have you eaten? Turning off the phone, Qin Jiao closed his eyes and suppressed the surging emotions in his eyes. He thought that he seemed to know what that inexplicable and uncontrollable emotion was. It was really crazy. Qin Ju was quick to withdraw the news, but he couldn't match the eyes of someone who was interested. Qin Jiao called Yunsu. Yunsu had just finished school and was about to visit Yunchinj. I know, why did you call specifically to say this? Yunsu still felt a little strange. Well, I won't tell you anymore. I have some things to do here, Yunsu said quickly when Sulin called her. Okay, Fifth Master. Qin Ju couldn't help but shed tears of sympathy for the two young masters. In a hotel in Jinchi Film and Television City, a man hurriedly walked to the door of a room. Not yet, what? Sure enough, Qin Jiao said in a sinister tone, are you going to the race course? If you don't take their classes properly, send them to the base for training on weekends. I'll see if they still have the energy to play. Good. It's okay, just ask. Although the weather in Lanchinj has gotten warmer recently, you still need to keep warm and be careful of the flu. Qin Jiao's tone was gentle. He knew that Yunsu was more afraid of the cold. 5. Admiration, Yunsu asked doubtfully, still not used to calling him that. It was the beginning of the new year and Qin Jiao was also very busy. The two of them had less contact. Why did he call her at this time? Well, I just finished my work and I'll give you a call by the way. Dong dong dong. Lian Yu and Qin Jinkei were about to cry after receiving the news, but they did not dare to complain. Lian Yu did not dare to tell his family what happened at the racecourse that day, otherwise not only Qin Jiao would punish him, but also his family. Peel him off. Gu Dao, it's me, Xiao Li. What are you doing here at this hour? Gu Liangziu opened the door and said angrily, I'm busy right now. Li Wei walked into the room and saw the computer on the coffee table, knowing that the director was watching a movie again. Director Gu, let's play it for a while. You can watch the film anytime. Please take a look at me first. Li Wei took out his mobile phone. What is it, you are in such a hurry? Li Wei said mysteriously, Qining, I found it. What? Gu Liangziu was startled and said hurriedly, show me quickly. Levi clicked on the video saved on his phone, look. This is this, Gu Liangziu's eyes widened, not wanting to miss any details. He watched Yunsu's video of a horse racing and a leaping horse to save someone 3 times. In the picture, the girl in red clothes is like fire, and the horse is galloping. The youth is full of spirit. Her graceful posture when saving the horse is as sharp as an arrow, and her momentum is compelling. Although he couldn't see her face clearly, Gu Liangziu had almost determined that the girl in the video was the Qining he was looking for, Princess Qining, the protector princess of Daxia Kingdom. Gu Liangziu is a generation of famous guides of Huaguo. He has left many classic movie works, and his word-of-mouth box office is applauding. He has popularized countless stars. His new work The Story of Tangan is currently being filmed. It is adapted from a very popular novel. It is a typical male protagonist drama, and both fans of the original novel and drama fans are looking forward to it. The male protagonist, Yu Tanjun, was the prince of a country at the beginning, and grew up in a wealthy and luxurious life. However, at the age of 15, his country was ruined and his family was destroyed. Slowly develop and grow, and finally regain their homeland and dominate the world. The whole drama went smoothly from preparation to filming. There are many people who want to invest in Gu Liangziu's drama, and there is no need to worry about funds. The male lead is also played by Gu Sushi, the youngest actor in the entertainment industry today. His appearance and acting skills are all online. It is Su Ziwei, who has won 2 Best Actors, and the supporting role is also a veteran actor who is familiar to the public. It stands to reason that this drama is going so smoothly in all aspects, and Gu Liangziu should be very happy, but his hair has almost turned gray recently. The filming has been going on for almost a month, and there is a role in the drama that has not been finalized. She is the sister of the male protagonist, Yu Qining. Yu Qining's role is not many, but it is very important. Yu Qining has been different from other women since she was a child. She has both civil and military skills and talents. Emperor Yu even said, if Qining were a man, he would be a wise king. At that time she and Yu Tanjun had a deep relationship since childhood, and Yu Tanjun relied on her for everything. When the enemy's cavalry entered the capital, Yu Qining defended the palace gate with his life, allowing Yu Tanjun to escape, but he himself died for his country. She is the biggest pillar for Yu Tanjun to regain his country and make a comeback, and she is also the soul of the entire drama. Gu Liangziu required that the actors playing this role should have good looks and temperament, and be clean and beautiful when acting. He interviewed hundreds of people. No one has found the actor who best suits the role of Yu Qining in his mind. Now that he saw this video, it was as if he had really seen the beautiful, dazzling Princess Qining. Li Wei is the casting director of the crew. He knew that his director was worried about the role of Princess Qining and could hardly eat. When he saw this video on Weibo, his first reaction was that they had found the person they were looking for. Ignoring the fact that it was late, I immediately came to see Gu Liangziu. "Who is this girl?" Gu Liangziu asked eagerly, his eyes shining. "Don't be impatient, don't be too happy, and take a look at this." Li Wei turned to the article on the official blog of the mathematics competition that mentioned Yunsu. "It should be this girl." Furushi noticed the photo at first sight and praised it. "The appearance is also perfect. The skin and bones are both good." Then he saw the text accompanying the picture, "The gold medal winner of the National Olympiad Mathematics Competition, Yunsu, this." "That's right," Li Wei nodded, "a real person with both civil and military skills." When she was popular, various entertainment companies seemed to come to her, but she rejected them all. So, Gurahide was silent and understood what he meant. So this girl didn't want to enter the circle, so she would most likely not agree to participate. "No matter what, you have to try hard." Gu Liangziu was still unwilling to let go of this opportunity. He originally planned to pick a slightly more suitable actor from the previous auditions if he couldn't find it again, but now Qining, who seemed to have come alive, was placed in front of him. It was him. How could he settle for the second best when he was the perfect person in his heart? "I'll go in person." Gu Liangziu looked at the Weibo post again. "Lanqing number 1 middle school, Xiao Li, book a ticket to Lanqing immediately and let's go together." "Okay." Levi nodded. End of this chapter. After Rebirth, boss, she is beautiful and sassy. Author, beautiful. Chapter 87. Chapter 87 can be considered. "I told you to leave quickly and don't bother our students in class." The security guard from number 1 middle school stared at the two people at the school gate with vigilance. Levi put on a smile and said in a sincere tone, "Brother, we are really not bad people, we are just looking for a student." "Are the security vigilance levels in all key high schools so high?" They were stopped before they even got close to the door. "Tell me, who are you looking for?" "Which class?" Security guard Uncle Wang's eyes were blazing. Li Wei was in a dilemma. "We don't know which class she is in, but we know her name." "Yunsu, do you know?" "Yunsu, Uncle Wang still doesn't know who it is, but that is the pride of their school." When they heard that they were looking for her, the alert level was raised several levels. "These two people, one has long hair and the other has a big beard, they don't look alike. What a good person." Seeing that the security guard was about to call the police, Gu Liangziu pushed Levi away and said, "Then let's not disturb him for now, can we just wait nearby?" "Stand farther away." Uncle Wang started to chase people away. "Okay, okay." The two of them retreated to squat under the big tree next to the school, regardless of their identities. No one would have thought that one of them was the famous and domestically renowned director Gu Liangziu. If they hadn't been unable to find Yunsu's contact information, they would have "Don't wait here." "Okay, okay." Gu Liangziu was overjoyed. As long as she was willing to listen to him, he was sure to convince her. Gu Liangziu was anxious. He grabbed her sleeve, and then met Yunsu's cold eyes. He quickly let go and stammered, "Sorry, I came here from the gold market specially. I still hope you can listen to me talk about this character before making a decision." Yunsu looked at the two people standing in front of him with questioning eyes, waiting for them to speak. "There is no need to look for it deliberately, that girl is like a bright pearl, you can see it at a glance even in the crowd." "Yes. It should be her," Gu Liangziu said firmly. Not far away, Uncle Wang was also staring at these two sneaky people. When he saw Yunsu coming out, he immediately stepped forward and said to her, "Classmate Yunsu, there are two strangers at the door. They say they are looking for you. You pay attention." Furushi hide. Yunsu didn't pay attention just now, but now she heard clearly that even a person like Yunsu who doesn't watch TV series or movies very much knows that this is a well-known director. The drama that her father has been following recently was made by Gu Liangziu. "Let me introduce myself again, I am Gu Liangziu, the director of The Legend of Tangan, who is currently filming, and this is the casting director of the crew, Li Wei. Although he tried his best to smile kindly, the beard on his face still looked a little sinister. It was time for school to end, and the students came out one after another. Li Wei and Gu Liangziu held the only photo and stared at the students who came out, for fear that Yunsu would miss it under their noses. Seeing that their faces looked really tired, Yunsu breathed a sigh of relief. Okay, half an hour at most, I have something else to do. Hey, director, look, is that the girl? Li Wei quickly pushed Gu Liangziu and pointed in the direction of Yunsu. Stranger. Yunsu was confused as to who would come to look for her at the school gate. Okay, thank you, Uncle Wang, I understand. I'm sorry, I'm not interested in acting. I have other things to do. Goodbye. Yunsu walked around the two of them and raised his feet to leave. The three of them came to a cafe near the school and found a secluded spot. Wait a minute, let me search on Baidu. Yunsu did not shy away from the two of them and directly opened the search on his mobile phone. Let's go, let's go. Gu Liangziu said, are you a classmate from Yunsu? I am the director Gu Liangziu. I saw your horse racing video online. There is a role in a drama I am filming here that suits you very well. Can we talk about it? The two were a little embarrassed, but they still waited quietly for Yunsu to verify their identities. The photo of Gu Liangziu on Baidu was indeed the bearded uncle in front of him. Yunsu put down the phone and said, okay, that's it. Gu Liangziu took out the script he brought and handed it to Yunsu. This is a part of the script related to this character. Please read it first. Yunsu took it and opened the cover to read the script of the story of Tangan. She was very fast. It took almost 2 or 3 seconds to read a page, and she finished reading it in less than half a minute. Gu Liangziu and Gu Liangziu were dumbfounded. This is too perfunctory. How about you, take a look again. No, I've finished reading. Princess Jining is the character, right? Yunsu took a sip of coffee. Looking at Yunsu's calm look, the two of them later remembered that Yunsu also had the title of gold medal winner in the mathematics competition. What was the point of reading a script quickly? Photographic memory may just be a normal function of genius. Gu Liangziu also took a sip of coffee to calm down. Yes, the role I want to invite you to play is Princess Jining. Because this role is too important, it has not been decided yet. Your horse racing video is very suitable for me. As long as you are willing to play the role of Zhong Qining, the conditions are up to you. It doesn't matter if you add more drama or more money, it's just that you have so much money. After reading through the script, Yunsu really liked the role of Princess Jining, and to some extent they were similar. I really like this role, but I'm not short of money, and I really don't have any plans to act. Besides, I usually have to go to class and have other things to be busy with. Your filming location is still in Jinchi, and I don't have time to participate in the filming. Sorry. After thinking about it, Yunsu still refused. She was really too busy. Gu Liangziu saw that she was a little interested, and quickly said, what if we can cooperate with your time? We can even go to Lanchinj to shoot. No, director, our crew is all in Jinchi, why come to Lanchinj to shoot? Besides, there is no place to shoot in Lanchinj. Before Yunsu could say anything, Li Wei became anxious. Don't interrupt yet, Gu Liangziu glared at him. This role doesn't have many roles and won't take up too much time. We can shoot it on your weekends, or whenever you have time. Gu Liangziu said it very sincerely. He was unwilling to give up Yunsu. If Princess Jining was not played by her, he would definitely regret it. Yunsu was a little hesitant. She came all the way to see her and was so sincere. She really liked this role, but how many days will it take to shoot? 4 or 5 days is enough, definitely not more than a week, Gu Liangziu immediately promised. This drama is a costume drama. There is no film and television base in Lanchinj. Where will it be filmed? Lanchange's entertainment industry is not very developed and there is no large-scale film and television shooting base. Li Wei also said, yes, there is no set here, how can we shoot it? Director. Why is there no place? Isn't there an Orchid Street in the eastern suburbs of Land City? There are also mountains and forests nearby. It's just that the scenes in the palace still need to be filmed in Jinji. There is no way Gu Liangziu had already made plans. Yalan Street? Yunsu thought for a moment and realized that there seemed to be such a place in Lanchange. It was on the outskirts of the city. It was previously contracted to be built into an ancient town-style street. Later, the contractor went bankrupt and the project was shelved. Although Yalan Street is called a street, it is actually equivalent to a small park. It is full of antique buildings, houses, and markets, and it is magnificently built. It is indeed a good place for shooting. Isn't Orchid Street closed? How could filming be allowed? Levi asked doubtfully. After the previous contractor on Yalan Street went bankrupt, no one knows where he is now. How can he get in to take pictures? You don't need to worry about this, I have my own way. Gu Liangziu was confident. Having already said this, it would be a bit unkind to insist on refusing, and she was indeed a little moved. Thinking about it again, Yunsu said, if these problems can really be solved, I can consider giving it a try. Okay, it's settled, I'll do it right away. Gu Liangziu said quickly, finally getting her to let go. He was afraid that she would regret it. Then he drank the coffee in the cup, said goodbye to Yunsu, and took Li Wei away. End of this chapter. After Rebirth, boss, she is beautiful and sassy. Author, beautiful. Chapter 88. Chapter 88. Agree to appear. Old Gu, what brought you here today? It's rare for you to come to my place. Come in quickly. The man's voice was hearty, and he was obviously very happy. Gu Liangziu walked into the house and said, I don't go to the Three Treasures Hall for anything. I heard that you are busy with your new play recently. Why do you, a great director, need my help? Come on, sit down first, and I'll give you a taste of the good tea I just got last month. Gu Liangziu was not in the mood for tea now. He waved his hand and said, Tang Si, let me ask you something. Do you have Orchid Street in Orchid City in your hands? Although it is a question, it is in a determined tone. Gu Liangziu has been in the entertainment industry for decades. What kind of people from all walks of life do not recognize him? He also accidentally knew that Orchid Street was in the hands of the Jun family. Jun Tamshi paused in the act of pouring tea. How did you know? The acquisition of Yalan Street was a confidential project of the Jun family. How did it get leaked? Don't worry about how I know it for now. I came here today just to borrow a few days from you to shoot a scene. Do you think you can help me? Hearing this, Hun Tangshi had a troubled expression on his face. He and Gu Liangziu were college classmates and friends for many years. Logically speaking, he should agree when he finally asked him for help, but this matter was really not easy to handle. Now that you know, I won't hide it from you. The reason why I haven't publicized it to the outside world is because Yalan Street is a key project of our Jun family. It is being expanded and renovated. If you were to take the scene, wouldn't it be was it exposed in advance? You are wrong about this. Gu Liangziu shook his head. Yalan Street is so big, we won't be able to film all of it, and once the drama comes on and becomes popular, wouldn't it mean that Yalan Street is given to you for free? If you advertise on the street, it will naturally become popular and tourists will come. How great! I invited an actress for my new play. She is from Orchid City. She didn't have time to go to the gold market, so I had to make adjustments here. I finally thought about this. What if you don't borrow this Orchid City Street? I might not be able to hire an actor. Okay, then I'll wait for your news. Gu Liangziu was dumbfounded, but you just said you wanted to discuss it? Video of horse racing saving lives? June Tamshi felt that she sounded familiar for some reason. You said she is a student? Which school is she from? He looked at Gu Liangzia with a serious look on his face. Okay, Orchid Street will lend you money. How long do you want it? Do you need anything else? Do you need to arrange accommodation and catering for the crew? Do you still need investment for this play? I'll do it. Just tell me what kind of scene you need, and I'll find someone to arrange it. After pondering for a moment, June Tamshi said, if you ask me to think about it, I have to discuss it with the people in the group. The company is not my sole authority. Come up with a specific plan to see if it is feasible. What kind of big shot are you? He is just a student and has never thought about entering the entertainment industry. I shamelessly went all the way to invite him. There is nothing that cannot be said. Gu Liangzio told it all and took the opportunity to sell it again. Oh, Huntang became curious, is there anyone in the entertainment industry who can refuse a play directed by you, Dagu? How big of a person is he? Isn't it impossible to expose? No need to discuss. Hey, she still has this charm. Just 2 days ago, wasn't there a very popular video on the internet about a horse racing to save someone? That girl is the protagonist of the video, did you see it? Forget it, you old-timer doesn't even know that. I found it online, and the video matches a character in my play very well, so she must play this role. June Tamshi became even more curious. How can a student be so charming that you invite him in person? Lanchinge No. 1 Middle School, that key middle school, she still won the gold medal in some mathematics competition. She is really good at both civil and military skills. Speaking of Yun Sula, Gu Liangzia was extremely satisfied. June Tamshi shook his hand and put the teacup on the table. Yun Su. Not only did he know her, he wanted to enshrine her. Why are you asking? Gu Liangzia looked confused. It's called Yun Su, what? Do you know him? But, weren't you filming over at Jinshi? Why did you think of coming to Lanchinge this time? June Tamshi asked casually. Speaking of soreness, how many people are asking for his play? He rushed and was rejected. This is true. Huntang Shi still believes in the appeal of Gu Liangzia's drama. As long as his new drama becomes a hit, Orchid Street will also rise with the tide. June Tamshi frowned. Why did he become more familiar with it the more he heard it? Wait a minute, what's that girl's name? Knowing that June Tamshi was telling the truth, Gu Liangzia didn't have to ask him to reply now. Sooner or later you have to show up. Don't you still need to write about planning? I have the final say on what plan to write. June Tamshi slapped the table and said it with certainty, and it was nailed to the iron plate. No, Gu Liangzia looked at Huntang Shi, who had changed like a new person, and he didn't understand. Why is this? When it comes to June Wei, June Tamshi can't go into details, so he can only say simply, I know this little girl, she is one of my nieces. Niece. One is named Yun and the other is named June. Which kind of niece are they? I've known you for so many years, how come I didn't know you had such a niece? Gu Liangzia was confused. I admitted it, can't it? Huntang Shi was confident, he admitted it unilaterally. What happened? All right, you have the final say. Gu Liangzia is speechless. Then it's settled, don't go back on your word, no matter what the reason is, just agree. Absolutely nothing. If it was just Gu Liangzia who came to borrow it, Huntang Shi would really have to think carefully about it, but when it came to Yun Su, he would be willing to give it to Yalan Street, let alone borrow it for a few days. Okay, Gu Liangzia left happily. He couldn't wait to call Yun Su. Ms. Yun, I've settled everything. Now I'm just waiting for your reply. Yun Su was a little surprised. He didn't expect him to move so quickly. Can I go to Orchid Street to shoot? Okay, is this still thanks to you? Me? Yun Su didn't understand what he meant. Yes, the current owner of Yalan Street is the June family. Aren't you his niece? He agreed as soon as I mentioned you and asked me to take care of you more. There is only one June family in Lanchinge. Yunsu instantly understood that June Tamshi really gave her enough face. In this case, she would no longer shirk it. Then please, Director Gu, please give me the detailed script. Okay, Gu Liangzia was overjoyed, then you still need to go to the gold market. We will sign the contract, take makeup photos and some scenes in the palace. Okay, I can make time this weekend. Okay, I'll ask Levi to pick you up when the time comes. Okay. Yunsu nodded, and Gu Liangzio immediately set off back to Jinshi. The 2 days of delay were watched by the deputy director of the crew, filming some insignificant scenes. The entire crew of the Chronicles of Tangan only saw their director come back beaming and then immediately held a discussion meeting. The role of Princess Jining has been decided, Gu Liangzio happily announced to everyone. What? Really? As soon as he said this, some were happy and some were surprised. It turned out that their workaholic director disappeared for 2 days to do this. Is it Shenying or Qin Shui or who else? The assistant director guessed. Shenying made her debut in idol dramas and became an instant hit. She is a popular little girl with delicate and bright looks, many fans, and is very popular. Qin Shui is a child star who has been watched by the audience and is lovable. Their acting skills are impressive despite their young age. Both of them were selected by netizens as more suitable candidates for the role of Princess Jining. No, she's just an amateur. Amateur. Everyone looked at each other, so after auditioning so many people, the director was not satisfied and finally found an amateur? Screenwriter Su Yunqi sat aside, looking a little ugly. Director Gu, I haven't even read it, how can I just settle on it? As the screenwriter and original author of the story of Tangan, Lu Yunqi has a certain say and decision-making power in determining the role. This is also one of the conditions for him to agree to adapt the novel to the screen. Even though he believed in director Gu's vision, the role of Princess Jining was the soul of the whole play, and not just anyone could play her. He didn't want flaws to appear, and he didn't allow his hard work to be ruined by others. Because I'm sure you will agree to let her play the role, Gu Liangzio said firmly and confidently. Everyone, take a look at this video first. Gu Liangzio motioned to Li Wei to play the video. The light of the projector lit up, casting a shadow on the wall of the conference room. The girl in red galloped on her horse, her movements were nimble, and her fierce momentum almost rushed out of the screen. Someone whispered, "Isn't this the girl who was very popular on the internet 2 days ago?" Lu Yanzi almost looked straight in the eyes and murmured, "Jining, this is Jining, this girl is exactly the same as the Jining in his mind, this role can only be played by her." His face turned red with excitement. "Director Gu, when can she join the group?" Lu Yanzi's reaction was completely expected by Gu Liangziu. He snorted, "Didn't you just say that I made my own decision?" "I was wrong, I shouldn't question your vision." Lu Yanqi touched his nose, feeling a little embarrassed. "She will come over this weekend to take makeup photos, but most of her scenes will be shot in Lanchinge." Lanchinge? Everyone was stunned. There was no film and television base in Lanchinge, so how could we film it? This is not a modern drama. Yalan Street. Gu Liangzio spit out 3 words. Everyone suddenly realized that the Yalan Street project was famous throughout the country and they all had great expectations. However, it disappeared later. It has been 2 or 3 years now, and now it has been reopened. About the shooting at Orchid Street, everyone must keep it a secret. I also asked someone for help to get in, it's still closed there now. Gu Liangzio gave serious instructions, he didn't want anything to go wrong by then. Understood. Those present were all old men who had been with Gu Liangzio for a long time and knew his temperament. After the meeting, someone quietly sent a message. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After Rebirth, boss, she is beautiful and sassy. Author, beautiful. Chapter 89. Chapter 89. Arriving at the set. What? In front of the makeup mirror, the beautifully made-up woman screamed and threw away her mobile phone, overturning all the bottles and jars on the table, her face distorted, completely destroying the original beauty. Sister Yingying, what's wrong? Shen Ying's assistant hurried over and asked nervously, thinking that something was not going her way again. Shen Ying gritted her teeth and said with hatred, who dares to steal my role? I'm really tired of living. The assistant was shocked. The role of Princess Jining had been snatched away. This is the resource that Sister Yingying values most recently. Shen Ying was so angry that she didn't even bother to shoot the commercial. Give me the phone. Her phone was thrown so hard that it couldn't be used. Hey, Sister Qing, where are you? Do you know that the role of Princess Jining has been finalized? How could the news I just received be false? Didn't you swear that this role must be mine? It's not Qin Shuer. If I hadn't been so angry with her, she would be just an amateur. All cats and dogs dare to get in touch with her. Director Gu decided it himself, and the screenwriter also agreed. Shen Ying held her phone, her chest heaving with anger. Okay, I understand, I'll wait for your news. After thinking about it, she dialed another number and glanced at the assistant. Go out first and buy me a new mobile phone. That's not true, I just like this character very much, so it's a different experience, Yunsu said casually. She couldn't stand it if she was really allowed to live under the camera all the time. Is there a flight tomorrow morning? Qin Jiao's voice came. His voice was very quiet, as if he was whispering in her ear, with a metallic texture. The plane arrived at Jinchi Airport on time at around 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. Yunsu was dressed lightly, carrying only a handbag, wearing a sweatshirt and jeans, with a ponytail tied up, and her face was bare. After hanging up the phone, Shen Ying's eyes were filled with hatred. She was determined to play this role. Qin Shuer, who was also interested in this role over there, also received the news. Instead of yelling like Shen Ying, she smiled slightly. She didn't need to put in more effort. There are always some fools who will rush to get ahead anyway. It's time to reap the benefits. Yoon Daejin was even happier than Yunsu himself when he found out that his daughter was going to film a movie. This was mainly reflected in the fact that he told Yunsu 5 times to remember to bring director Gu's autograph back for him. After Jun Wei drank Yunsu's Kinjin prescription, his complexion improved significantly. He was even eager to go horse riding at the race course. Jun Tamshi pulled him back with a dark face. He learned that Yunsu was about to go to Jinchi to shoot, so he quickly arranged for people to go there. Send Yunsu there and have someone follow her closely to take care of her. Just remember it, Yunsu suddenly said that he was going to film a movie. Yoon Daejin never thought that Yunsu was going to play an important role. Okay, good night. After the assistant left, Shen Ying instantly changed her face and put on a disgusting voice. Mr. Fang, I'm Yingying, are you busy? I have something to ask you for help. I hate you. I'll wait. Come on over. Well, you can go and have some fun. It seems that the plan of opening an entertainment company can be scrapped. Yes, 8 o'clock in the morning. Okay, I remember it. Yunsu was helpless, not realizing that her father was still chasing stars. The phone rang. It was Qin Xiao. Hello. Yunsu's voice was lazy. She didn't know why Qin Xiao called her more frequently recently. She was used to chatting with him every day. Although he had good intentions, Yunsu still refused. On Friday night, she went to Linju's house and Jun Wei's house to perform acupuncture on both of them. Linju recovered very well and could walk a long way slowly, almost like a normal person. If no one, he said that it was impossible to tell that he had been in a wheelchair for 2 years. Since when did she and the 5th master of the Qin family say good night to each other every day? Yunsu shook his head and laughed. Okay, Sister Yingying. Why do you suddenly want to film? Do you want to develop in the entertainment industry in the future? Qin Jiao chatted with her while processing documents. A valuable pen scratched the paper, and a signature appeared. Then take a rest early and send me a message when you get there to say you're safe. Good evening. Yunsu goes to school, Yunchinj, Research Institute, and home every day at 4 o'clock and one line. She almost forgot about going to Jinchi to shoot. She only remembered when Gu Liangzio called her. Li Wei was holding a huge sign and looking around. When he saw her, his eyes lit up. Miss Yun, here. He took the bag from Yunsu's hand and said, I'll take you to the hotel where you're staying first, and then we'll go to the set. Good. In the Gimshi Film and Television City, in the Palace Complex, there is an inconspicuous studio without even a sign. It is the crew of The Story of Tangan who is filming The Story of Tangan in order to keep it secret. Director Gu Liangzio is spitting on the phone, and a group of people are waiting next to him. I didn't dare to express my anger. Let me say it again, the role of Princess Jining has been decided, it is impossible to change her. Withdraw the investment, let him withdraw. I don't believe that my Gu Liangzio's drama has no investment, there are many people waiting in line. This is not stubbornness, this is persistence, do you understand? Forget it, I don't want to tell you. Gu Liangzio was so angry that he blew his beard and glared. He hung up the phone and asked the reporter next to him, has Li Wei brought anyone here? The recorder answered cautiously, not yet. Call and ask. No need to call, it's coming, the producer ran in to report. Gu Liangzio was overjoyed, and the anger just now was gone, and he hurriedly greeted her, Miss Yun, you are finally here. You should call me Susu. I heard Uncle Jun mentioned it yesterday and found out that you are old classmates. Tang Shi and I have known each other for many years. When I was in business school, I didn't expect that I would become a director, and we have been filming for so many years, Gu Liangzio said with emotion. Everyone in the crew looked at Yunsu calmly. She was a clean girl with skin as white as snow and picturesque features. She looked harmless to both humans and animals. She didn't have the overwhelming aura in the video. She really can. You play Princess Jining well? Time is running out, let's go to your Uncle Jun's house to talk some other time. Are you familiar with the script? Gu Liangzio got straight to the point. I'm familiar with it, it's like reciting it by heart. Okay, now you put on your clothes and get a feel for it if possible, we'll take makeup photos. Clothes, where are the clothes? Gu Liangzio looked around. Director, I'm here. A girl with a round face ran over. Take Miss Yun to dress up, and the makeup artist is ready. The camera will start to adjust the equipment, and all departments will be active. Yes. Given the order, the crew began to move in an orderly manner. Yunsu went in to prepare, but Gu Liangzio suddenly found that one person was missing. Where is the screenwriter? The script is being revised over there, and I think I have some new ideas for the character of Princess Jining. Let him out quickly. Yes, director. When the crew was busy, Gu Sushi arrived and said, Director Gu. Gu Liangzio turned around and said, Sushi, why are you here? Aren't you not filming your scene today? My sister is here, how could I not come and take a look? Gu Sushi has a long body, a handsome face, and deep and charming eyes. His smile is like a crescent moon, and he is as solemn as a cold star. Even wearing casual clothes cannot hide it. Live with a noble temperament. Young man, it's a good thing you're here, I'll have a show with Susu later. Gu Sushi was a little surprised. He and Gu Liangzio had worked together before and were familiar with each other. He knew that his temperament was difficult to get close to, but now he called the girl so affectionately. It seemed that he really liked the girl who played Jining. The interest in Gu Sushi's eyes became even stronger. Outfit, Miss Yun, do you need help? Princess Jining's clothes are layered in layers, gorgeous and complicated, and most people don't know where to start with a pile of clothes. No, thank you. Yoonsu dressed for a while before coming out of the dressing room. The costume was stunned for a moment. She actually knew how to wear it. Many of the actors who auditioned before could not afford this outfit. The gorgeous palace dress was worn on her, and it looked like it was her foil, as if it was tailor-made for her. Even though she didn't use makeup, she was stunningly beautiful. Yoon, Ms. Yoon, I am the makeup artist of the crew, please sit here. The senior makeup artist, who has seen countless popular stars, stuttered, and was a little blushing for no reason. This young lady is too A-level. The makeup artist gently stroked Yoonsu's face. It was as smooth as a peeled egg, with almost no pores visible. She couldn't help but envy. Miss Yoon, your skin is so good, you don't even need any foundation. Okay, I'll just do it for you. Okay. The makeup artist is doing makeup on Yoonsu in the front, and the hairstylist is doing Yoonsu's hair in the back. Chi Ning is different from ordinary princesses in the clan. Her bun is not too complicated and meticulous, but she still has the manners that a princess should have. Yoonsu's hair was smooth and black. The hairstylist divided her hair into strands and tied them on the top of her head without any supports, letting it hang down naturally. The remaining hair was hung on her shoulders, giving her a dignified yet charming hairstyle. The bun is completed, and a small phoenix hairpin is inserted. The phoenix wings move slightly, making people's hearts sway. That's all right, Miss Yoon. After the styling was done, the makeup artist covered her racing heart and almost suffocated. This was so beautiful. Can I take a photo with you? They asked, looking at her eagerly. Okay, Yoonsu nodded with a smile. The door of the temporary dressing room opened, and a figure slowly came out. The crew involuntarily stopped what they were doing and looked over. Gusu, who had just changed into clothes, put on makeup and hair, and was chatting with Gu Liangziu, stopped talking, looked up casually, and was stunned for a moment. End of this chapter. After Rebirth, Boss, she is beautiful and sassy. Author, beautiful. Chapter 90. Chapter 90, First Tryout. Many years later, Gu Sushi clearly remembered this moment, the shocking moment when he and Yoonsu first met. A girl wearing a gorgeous and complicated palace dress came slowly, her hands folded, her wide sleeves moving slightly, her train flying in a graceful arc, her phoenix hairpin swaying slightly, fluttering her wings, and the crimson flower buds between her eyebrows set off the beauty. Her skin is as white as snow, and her eyebrows are as finely carved as a perfect work of art. There is only one pair of eyes, which are not as innocent as a girl, but reveal the unique majesty of the Tian family, and are unparalleled in dignity. She raised her chin slightly and looked at all living beings, as if she were really an ancient princess walking towards them, and everyone was her subjects kneeling at her feet. Gu Sushi was shocked, holding his breath, and everyone took a breath. This is the real princess. No wonder the director chose her. Qining, you are Qining. Lu Yanzi came out from nowhere, his eyes were red, and he looked at Yoonsu dreamingly. No one can understand his current mood. It feels so mysterious that the characters in his writings have truly come to life. Not bad, not bad. Gu Liangziu's eyes lit up. Have you ever learned court etiquette? Yoonsu's walking posture and pace. She looks exactly like an ancient princess, like a textbook, unable to find fault with her. Know something in the interstellar world, the imperial princess would salute Yoonsu when she saw her. How could she not understand this? Gu Liangziu nodded with satisfaction. Very good, the time of teaching etiquette is also saved. He was referring to a scene in which Daxia suffered a series of defeats when a powerful enemy invaded. Qi Ning was so anxious that when he wanted to petition the emperor to lead troops to go on an expedition, he was stopped by Tangan. Sister, don't go, my father will not agree. Tangan pulled her sleeves and looked at her sincerely. He and Qi Ning are the direct siblings of the Middle Palace. They have been close since childhood, and they are called affectionately like ordinary people. Beside the Crimson Palace wall and on the royal road paved with bluestone, a young man wearing a crescent white python robe with a jade crown on his head stopped the girl in palace attire. Although there is an age gap between Yunsu and Gusushi, they still play siblings, but Gusushi looks like he is only about 20 years old, so he has no problem playing a teenager. The makeup artist did not mess with Yunsu's makeup. A lot of thought was spent on modifying the outline of her face, removing the greenness and making the lines clearer. With the blessing of temperament, the age gap between the two could not be seen. Gusushi recovered from his daze. Whether father will agree or not is his business, and whether I go or not is my business. Get out of the way, the bright-looking girl had an indifferent face and decisive eyes. The attitude was a little cold, but Gusushi didn't mind. He picked up the script and wrote down the lyrics. 10 minutes later, okay, all departments are ready. Get ready, we'll start in 10 minutes. Gu Liangzia went to check the debugging of the equipment there. Can't you go? There are so many generals and soldiers on the front line, and you are not missing. I don't want you, you are like the second brother. Action, Gu Liangzia ordered. Yu Qingzhou, the second prince of Daxia, led his troops on an expedition 3 months ago. He died on the battlefield and never came back. You and Susu try to play, just this part, Gu Liangzia said. Yunsu opened his sleeves, revealing his thin white hands. He shook them quickly and then took them back. Yunsu. This scene between the two of them has many lines, intense words, and rich emotional levels. Everyone is looking forward to it. Sushi. Hello, Gusushi. He stretched out his hand. Qining sighed and gently pulled off his hand that was holding her sleeve. Atten, you also said that there are so many soldiers on the front line, so who are they fighting for? They are fighting for our Daxia, I'm fighting for the people of Daxia, I'm fighting for you and me. I must go. Seeing that she was determined to go, Yu Tanjun gritted his teeth and, regardless of the dirt, lifted up his robe and knelt straight down. There was a muffled sound, showing the strength. What are you doing? Qining said angrily in disbelief. Stand up. If you don't promise me, I won't get up. Yu Tanjun was also very stubborn. Do you know what you are doing? Qining said in a deep tone, hating that iron cannot become steel. Yu Tanjun, are the sons of the royal family and my crown prince of Great Xia. In your life, you will never kneel to anyone except the Lord of heaven and earth, your master. If you are so determined, why don't you dare to go into battle and try to stop me in this way? Yu Tanjun lowered his head and dropped a tear to the ground, but his body did not move at all. A coldness flashed in Qining's eyes. He reached for the whip on his waist, pulled it out and raised it high. He gritted his teeth and struck him with the whip with a hunting sound. Stand up. She used 50% of her strength. Yu Tanjun's body trembled violently, but he still lowered his head. The expensive fabric was scratched and bright red blood oozed out. Yu Qining's eyes were stabbed. She closed her eyes and cracked the whip again. Stand up, Yu Tanjun put his hands on the ground. Crack the whip, stand up. With this whip, Yu Tanjun could no longer kneel firmly and fell to the ground. The jade crown fell down with a clang, his hair was messy, and his eyes were still staring at her imploringly. Qining turned a blind eye, walked around him, walked a few steps, and stopped. Her back was turned to him, so her expression couldn't be seen clearly. I am very sincere. I would rather die standing than live on my knees, even if my body is wrapped in horse leather. Sister, Yu Tanjun shouted at the top of his lungs, his heart filled with grief. She walked forward step by step along the palace wall, her back straight, and never looked back. After 5 minutes of dead silence, warm applause broke out. The emotional staff members could not hold back and quietly wiped away their tears. The performance was so good. Although it was Yu Tanjun who was beaten, Yu Qining was the one who made them feel bad. He was proud, lived and died for his country. Stuck, Gu Liangzhu finally spoke. Gu Su got up after falling to the ground, her eyes full of wonder. As an amateur, Yun Su's acting skills are good, but in the entertainment industry, they are nothing. But she has an amazing emotion that can easily infect the other actors. As an actor, put her into it. As long as she is willing to concentrate on developing in the entertainment industry, sooner or later she will have a place. The two performed the scene heartily, and the viewers were also shocked and said they were enjoying themselves. The person who secretly filmed the whole process fell silent. Isn't it really just to gain her fans by showing it out like this? He's here to film dirty stuff? Okay, great. Gu Liangzhu looked at the scene he had just taken over and over again, feeling ecstatic that he had really found a treasure. It's just that the role is a bit small. He looked at Lu Yunqi thoughtfully, otherwise. Come on, Susu, let's take a photo of the makeup first. Gu Liangzhu smiled and said, where are the clothes? Go take out the armor and prepare to change into it later. Okay, director. The photographer paid full attention and looked at Princess Jining under the camera. Okay, yes, that's it. Perfect. 2 hours later, the official account of the much-anticipated new drama The Story of Tangan quietly sent a Weibo post. She is the apple of Chen Huan's eye, and also an iron-blooded general who goes into battle to kill the enemy. She is the attention of the protector of the country, Yu Qiniang. At Asusu 2121. One half of the released stills shows the palace princess wearing gorgeous palace clothes with gentle eyes against the background of the palace gate, and the other half shows the iron-blooded general wearing cold armor, with serious eyes and blood-stained brows. The same person is divided into two, and the other is strong. A soft, but not inconsistent. 5 minutes later, the comments exploded. End of this chapter.